Today we get things on track by adding Reddington's first rail line. We'll use the Network Multitool to get smooth curves and grades. Welcome back to Reddington, a nice southern town on the fringes of Appalachia. So today we're going to add rail line to Reddington after we removed it unceremoniously a few episodes ago. Now we do have a few outside connections. This is the central part of our city. That's the center of town right there. We've got industrial over here and a farm area right there. And we built this river port the last episode with a nice city of, village of Redport. So we're seeing river traffic here. And we've got a couple of other outside connections, one over here that really isn't all that popular. The game really prefers highways, so having a windy dirt road is not really ideal for this. And then there's another one here, and this one is a lot more popular. As you can see, there's a few trucks going down and a few cars, Sims moving in. We also have one last one, I believe, right here. And this one gets a little bit of use, but I don't think it gets too much. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring in a railroad, and we're going to bring it into the center of town here. Now, the most important thing you want to think about is where you're going to put your station. Now, the station you really want that to be close to the center of town as much as you possibly can get it. We've already got a pretty decently built up town. We've got a few blocks out in pretty much any direction. And if we look at the terrain, this would not be a good spot because it's almost on a gully right there. This over here would be a little bit tough and it's a little far out. But this right here, even though there's a hill right here, this is actually at a pretty good location. So let's take a look at our terrain height here. Roughly around 135 to 140, yeah, 135, 140. So this terrain line here is 135 meters. Now over here, we end up quite a bit above that, at least 12 meters, which is good because we could run those roads right underneath it. And then we've got 125 right here and 135 right there. So 135, if we kept close to that, we could run a rail right out here across onto this peninsula right here. That would be handy. We could also run it around here and out of town along this road that already has been built here. And, we don't have to stick to 135. We can raise, we can lower. But if you look, we can see that if we are pretty close in the neighborhood, 145, 135 right there, we can run all the way out along this road and then cross over somewhere over here and eventually make our way to this neck of the woods where we're still at 135, 140. Trains really like level grades. And here we are at 145 along this hillside here and about 150 right here in this little valley. So I really think that that's the best way to get a train route out to an outside connection. Now, another place that we can run is out to the west. And we've got some good options here that should work pretty well. So let's get to building that. First thing you want to start off with is a station. And since we're going to go with that 135, we're going to set our brush size here. And we're going to level out an area right here. I'm going to pause this because I'm going to be doing some serious modifications here and I don't really want to be surprised by what effect it might have on the city. Sort of like the last time when I had the cemetery fill up and then tons and tons of death piled up on me and I wasn't ready for it. So anyway, first thing we'll do is level out an area here, bring my terrain lines back, and we'll go to the train station right here. Now we could probably fit that in right real nice like there, right in there. So first thing we're gonna do, let's build a road here. And I want it to be all ground. And I don't want it to bend. And I need anarchy. Okay, so I've got a road and it's on that straight flat area right there. I should be able to set up a station right here. So I'm going to try to put this sort of in the middle right here because I think that that's going to allow me to eventually later expand this, make it bigger. I'm going to try to preserve as much of this area as I can for just rail infrastructure. Now, one thing I want to point out is normally the cities don't build their own rail networks. In city skylines, rail systems are very public infrastructure, but in the United States, most of the time railroads are built by private enterprises. So they're private infrastructure. So the railroad would have to come in and buy up land. Now, railroads oftentimes are a bit strapped for cash. So it's very unlikely that they would try to build inside the center of town. Now, when you're building for a public railroad, well, you have a little more flexibility. A lot of times, I don't think that that was really the case where the railroad came through and bought up land that had already been improved, that had already been built on. So we're just going to stick with that and just build this. This is pretty close to the square in the center of town and a lot of this population over here on the west end. So this is a pretty good location. As the city grows, that station is going to be really valuable. So now what we want to do is try to connect this station in to this outside world. We'll go over here to the west, but I think we're going to start to the east because I really want to make sure that I have this rail line ringed around downtown so that if I decide I need to build more city, that I don't end up making it so that I can't build my rail line. So in order to do that, I need to figure out where this rail line is going to go. And I already thought that this spot over here looked pretty good. So let's bring that up again here, and got 134, 35 right here. So we could just run across here. It looks like we could probably do pretty well if we ran up around 140 over here. And I don't think that's too much of a grade to scale up here, so we'll go with 140. Yeah, there we go, that's close enough. Make the brush a little smaller here, and I just want to level out a spot right there for the for my landing right there on one side of the bridge here. I think that should be about 140, and we're just going to have it go above the land right here. Maybe we'll have some other infrastructure down there eventually. So now what we need to do, I'm going to just go with ground slope right there. I kind of want to keep this as level as I possibly can. So run across here to here. Actually, I think the bridge is going to look better if I go with something that gives me 60 units across here. So bring that level tool out here again. Just level that up a little bit. In a second, we're going to undo all that. Alright, now I forgot to do straight slope. No problem, I've got the handy dandy network multi-tool here. So we'll correct the grade on this. Let's click on our first node, click on our last node, hit enter, and voila. Perfectly level grade on the bridge. Okay, so now we need to connect this to the station over here. So we're going to use the network multi-tool again, except this time we're going to use the create connection mode. So we'll start here by clicking on that segment. Actually, you know what? We're going to start over here, aren't we? No. We'll start over here at the bridge, at the station, and then we'll click over here on the bridge. Okay, so it actually did go with what I wanted it to do here. So it's giving me two different radiuses right here, two different curves. First thing I want to do is bring this curve out to about here. 50 meters is a rather tight radius for a train, so let's try going with 200 on this one. Hold the shift key down so I can get 200 even. And over here we'll do the same. I think we're going to make this one even bigger radius wise. Make that 500 right there. And let's see if we can figure out where the grade would follow. I think it would stay pretty close here to the road, so as not to descend too fast. Over here, all right, so it looks like I probably want a curve right in here. So I'm gonna double click, and I want to double click there again, and that will reverse it. So that will give me a curve right there that will make it so that I can work my way around. Now I'm just going to expand the radius here to 200 meters and then pull that out. Okay, so I really probably need a bigger radius on these. So let's expand the radius here. Let's go 500. And I think I'll try, see if I can get 500 over here too. Not likely. Let's just go with 250. Might be able to expand it in a second here. All right, so I want to try to follow the edge of town right here. Let's try expanding that to, let's do 300 to start off with. That looks pretty good right there. I think we could expand that radius to 500 just like the others, almost. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Got a gentle curve right over here, another curve right there, and then we just follow along around the outside and connect into the station. I think that looks pretty good, so I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to click here, get straight slope, and we'll see what kind of slope we end up with using the Network Multi-Tool here. Alright, so we'll start here at the end of our bridge, and let's see if it'll only let us go so far. It might only let us go here. Alright, so 0.2%. Can't really argue with that. And then over here, I have about the same, right? Yeah. Alright, so that's almost a level grade. And right up here above these streets, at a really healthy level. Over here, we've got a little bit of a fill. And I don't think we've got any cuts over here. We're cutting into the side of the hill. Mostly it looks like it's just fills. And over here, whoops, too far. Over here it looks like it's more of the same. Okay, so we really would like to have an even amount of cut and fill if we can, where we fill in a deep area and cut into where we fill in a low area and we cut into a deep area, a high area, my bad. So that's what we're going to try to do here on the rest of this rail line here, but we've got a good start, so I'm gonna go ahead with this. And you know, we're going to save ourselves a little bit because I'm going to set this up as a trestle. This would be a little expensive, to say the least, but I don't think that it's completely unreasonable. I don't think it's completely unreasonable that they would have filled this either, but I think I'm just going to go with the trestle over here, or the elevated. And I think we're going to stop right there. And then over here at the bridge, let me set that up as high level. It's elevated. And there we go. Okay, so now I want to make this bridge because it just looks way cooler. This on it, and actually, come to think of it, we've got some content creator packs. We'll take a look at that in a bit later. So now let's work on bringing this out to the east. Now we've got ourselves a passenger terminal, passenger rail here. I really should have set this up so that it was parallel here to a main line, if we're going to build a main line through town here. So let me get bring up the guidelines here, and I'm going to replace that curve. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use the Network Multi-Tool, and I'm not going to replace it the standard way. Alright, so we've got curve, looks like it starts about here. I want to click on the end of the node right there. That will reverse where it's connecting, and put that up to 500 again. Zoom out a bit to see it. Might not be able to get away with 500 here. Oh, looks like I will be able to. And there's really not a whole lot of change in that. That's good. So that's still the same radius right there. So all we need to do here is hit enter, and I can take some of that out. I was hoping it was going to take the other one. gaps here. Let's fill that in. Let's see if we use the freeform road tool. If it will. Yeah, that's great. Even that one lines up. Okay, great. So that looks really good right there. Now I just need to bind this in. It's going to be a little goofy, but I'm just going to go with it. Oh, it actually looks pretty good. These catenaries are... Oh, no, they overlap. All right, let's use move it here a little bit. I always hate when those catenaries don't line up. I think 36... it's close enough. We'll go with that. I'll just bring it in like that. All right, so it's connected. That's all that matters to me. And I think I can change that last segment right there. Make that. Let's see if we can make that elevated. That looks okay. All right, so that's good. Now let me reconnect the power lines. Yeah, I really don't care. I'm gonna have no need for those power lines pretty soon anyway. Okay, so we've got ourselves a ring around that side of town. Now we want to do the same thing over here. Now I'd really like to just bring this around and just sort of have it hug this area here, and then come around here. Now we've got a lot of industrial development over here. I think that over in this neighborhood would be a good place to put a freight terminal here. So we've already got a flat area right there. Let's flatten it out a little bit more. It should be big enough. Okay, so let's bring a road here. Try and bring it down right here. Now, hopefully that will line me up. That should be pretty good. I think that looks good. I'm going to leave a lot of extra room right here. It went up a little higher than I wanted it to, so I'll use move it to lower it a little bit. Don't need that little stub there. We're going to clean this up in a minute here. Okay, so now let's get that network multi-tool going again. Click on that station's track right there. Actually, we want to bring this, I'm going to have a parallel track right here. That should do. All right, we'll click there, and I'm getting a crazy loop. Hopefully that will get rid of it. Yeah, okay, we're good there. Okay, so now let's expand this again. Maybe we can get 500 out of this again. I don't think this is going to quite work. 500 as a radius, but we'll try it and see how it looks. All right, now let's bring this out. Okay, that's what I was expecting. Okay, so now let's shrink this curve down just a bit. Let's make it 350. We can handle having things go a little slower coming into the station. I think that might do nicely right there. We're gonna have a bit of a cut going in here. Sort of like it to hug the hill a little bit more. So let's reduce the radius right here. Try doing 350 on both sides here. Back over here. We'll try 300. All right, that looks good. We'll try bringing this one up. Okay. Looks like I could probably bring this in a bit. That would be 24 meters out. $40 here. I think that will do. So hit enter. And let's see how we are grade-wise. Whether we had to make a lot of cuts and fills. It looks like it's almost level. The existing ground right there. That's exactly what I'd like to see. Let's see what the grade is here. Oh man, 0.3%. Okay, let's extend here for the station. Right there would be good. We'll try about 30 degrees right there. Hopefully the catenaries will not spill. It's a little closer than I'd like. I'm just gonna, I'll deal with it later. All right, so now I've got my rail line running over here towards the freight station, freight terminal here. Let's get that connected. And we'll try a little sharper angle right there. That's still not quite right. All right, 45 degrees. Can't go wrong with that. I guess you can. Well, I don't know why the catenaries are so so annoying, but they are. Okay, so let's bring that up to the road right here. Should be a straightaway. All right. So we've got a level crossing right there. Really, really don't like those in city skylines. They work a lot better in real life than they work in the game. But we're gonna live with these. There's not a whole lot on the other side of the tracks right now anyway. Oh man, let's see if we can make that connect properly. So far, not really sure if that worked. We'll just take that out. Okay. That does not look like a level crossing right there. What's the story? It's not supposed to look like that. I didn't think. Oh, maybe it does. I'm not used to maybe dirt roads here. Okay, so we've got a level crossing there as well. Another one right here. Yeah, I guess it does look a little different. The texture does. And it's got the crossing signal, so it's a crossing. The game will see it as a crossing. Great. So now we have this connected. Now let's connect it to the outside world. Obviously, this is going to take a little bit more time. But again, I'm going to start over where, well, let's start on the other end here and get that figured out. Where we want it to go into, the edge of the map. All right, so we've got an area right here. When I get our level terrain tool here. And we're about 151 is where we're starting here. And I'm gonna just bring, actually I'm gonna make that a little smaller here. Brush size down a little bit. Okay, so now we should be able to put a nice long segment in here. Okay, so now one of the problems that ends up happening, it seems like every time, is if this node is too close to the edge of the map, well, it's real trouble. So I'm going to hold down my Alt key and keep this straight. Bring it out about as far as I can here. And just get rid of this last little tiny segment right there. So that should be a good start for where I'm going here. Now, I need to cross the river next. So let's find a spot for that. We're at, what, 151? All right, so want to find a place that's going to be reasonable to cross. So right there we've got 145. We'd have another level crossing right there. Not the most ideal. We've got 140 right there, 143. If we could get it over at 140, I'd be pretty happy with that. And I think we can right here. We'll just have to cut through area right here. Actually, we could do 142. We'll just build that up a little bit right there. And I want to just bring this right over here. It's 146 right there. So I could follow this with a good gentle curve. Probably have a really, really ridiculously large radius. But that's okay. All right, so let's build my straight bridge here. Looks like we can do 48 right here. If I play my cards right. Okay. And now I get my network multi-tool out again. Start over in this direction. Connect here. Let's make sure. Yeah, okay. Good. All right, we want the curve to be on the other side. And we're going to need another curve in here. There we go. Okay. Actually, might not need both of these. Alright, so let's bring this out about here and increase the radius. Let's do 600 meters. See how closely we're following here. It's not too bad. Alright, and make this one 600 meters. Okay, so now let's see if we need to bring this out a little bit. I think that's 145 right there. I don't want to cut into the hill too much. So I'm going to try to just follow that line. It looks like if I just leave it right there, it'll be fine. I think that ought to look pretty good. It looks really good. So let's hit enter. And now let's see how much we cut and filled here. All right, so we've got a fill here where it's built up. And we've got a cut right here onto the side of the hill. Another fill, another cut. It looks like we probably could have cut a little bit more into the hillside here. Why don't we do that? All right, network multi-tool again. Start here, end here. Expand the radius to 600 meters. Draw this out a little bit. Quite as far as before. Double click that to move it to the other side. Expand the radius here to 600 meters. And it looks like we're cutting into the hill quite a bit here. Why don't I increase the radius on that curve? We can make this a longer curve. Oh, yeah, that looks really good right there. Go with 1,000 meters right there. So it looks like there would be a little bit of a fill here, a little cut there, another big fill, a little cut. Let's shrink that radius down a little bit. Let's go with 920 meters right there. So at this point, we're cutting a little bit more there. That's going to be a little bit of a fill, cutting quite a bit more here. Yeah, I think that looks even better than before. Okay, so hit enter. Let's take a close look at it. Got a fill, which we expected. Good size cut right there. That looks good. Little fill right there. And another cut. I think that looks pretty good. I think this is definitely good enough here. So let's, whoops. One more thing I want to do. I want to just double check the grade here. Make sure I'm not too steep. I'm sure I'm not, but just to be safe. 0.5%. For a mountainous area, or the edge of one, that's really good. Let's check this part here. 0.5%. Now, what we could do is just grade that entire thing down, but I don't know. I think I'm just going to leave it alone, and we'll just have a level bridge. That'll be fine. Okay, so let's change that to a bridge so that in case I unpause it, I won't end up with serious problems. Turn off the multi-tool. Okay, now the tricky part. We have this long area between town and this station. We've got to connect it all up. How do we go about that? Well, we're going to do it the same way we did it the last time. Start here with this node. I don't want to set slope anymore. I want to change back to my create connection. And this is going to be super complicated because it's not just going to go straight across. First, I need to make sure I've got the right node here. Get a 300 meter radius here at the very least. Okay. So first things first. Expand this down here. Now, I think what we're going to want to do here, looks like we can follow that and go straight across. Now, I didn't check the grade here, but I'm going to guess that that's pretty close to level all the way across here. That is going to be a bit of a cut right there, the way it looks right now. How do we look on this end? All right, let's work on this end a little bit here. So we need to add another curve right here because we're definitely not going to go straight through that hill. And I really want a big radius right here on this. I think we'll go through there. Okay, and I'm gonna put another curve over here. Let's see, how big is that? Try 1,200 meters. Looks pretty good. Okay, and we'll get another curve here. Okay, so we should be able to go right around there. We have another curve. Alright, so that one might be a little too big. Bring this down to 1,000. Throw another curve in. Might need to run it the other direction. Okay, so let's just expand the radius right here. And we'll have it just run right across right there. I think that looks good. Snakes right around. Stays pretty close to the right level here. I think we'll have a few cuts, but I don't hope they will. Hopefully they won't be too significant. All right, hit enter. Now let's see how we did. Idea is we'd like to keep this as level as possible. That looks pretty good. That's a cut I expected right there. That looks great. It's actually pretty level right there. I wasn't expecting that. Another big cut. Probably want to reroute that spot. Got a really big cut right there. So maybe we can increase the height right through here. Let's do that. Bring that up to terrain height. It goes up about 14, 13. Bring that down. Just eyeballing it right here. Let's do that. And over here, let's increase the height too. All right, let's try rating that. Start there and there. That is a lot more reasonable right there. And do the same over here, just see what this comes out to. Enter. Okay, that's not too bad. Got a big fill right there. That's good. That'll be a good grade separation for the road right there. I think I'd like to see it not quite that steep. There we go, 0.5% with that. Okay. Okay. Now let's bring this area up here too. Don't need to bring it up much. Let's just set that to terrain height. Let's raise that up just a bit. Okay, and we will slope this section. Alright, let's see what we have. 0.4%. That looks really good right there. A little bit of a cut. A little bit of a fill right here. That looks great. Should be easy to run an underpass right there. A little bit of a cut there. And more of a fill. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, so now this last section right here. I'd really like to not have it cut so much. So why don't we bring this up a bit more? And over here, we're going to bring this up some. Let's try that. Good. We got a fill there. A little bit of a fill, I think. A little cut. Okay, that's good. Let's go in this direction. Let's see what we get for this. Ooh, that's a little more steep than I'd like. What if we bring this down just a little bit? Maybe, right. That's better. Half a percent. Oh, that's not what I wanted. But I think it'll be okay. That's not what I wanted. this middle part up here again. Okay, that'll work. Alright, now we need to just smooth this out. That looks like a good transition. There we go. Let's just see if this all makes as much sense as I want it to. Yeah, I think this is good. I think we have ourselves a rail line. Okay, so now let's work on some of these underpasses and overpasses. Now right here, that's a pretty big change right there. All right, so first off, let's make sure we have a bridge. You want to have at least two. You want to have at least two units open in the middle. We're actually going to go with 3. Close enough. Alright, so I want to have a separation right here between the road and the rail. We've got 6 meters right there. I'm going to drop it a little bit further. And we'll use the node controller to add a node in the center here. Not quite the center, let's put it right here. Okay, that looks pretty good, about 10 meters. Everything should fit underneath. This one here really shouldn't even be too much trouble. 8 meters right there. Use the node controller again. Oh, it looks like it moved that. Take that out. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. Now, do we have any more? I don't think so. Okay, now let's connect up this freight terminal the rest of the way and we'll be good to go. Okay, now what kind of a grade do we have right here? Looks like easy one, but we're gonna smooth that out just a bit. Yeah, 4.5% is not great for trucks. 2 is a little easier. Alright, I think we're good to go. I think we can start the clock and see what happens. And you know what, I think I'm gonna extend pavement out here. We just need to bring in some water and some electricity. Pave some of this. Now that's a really steep, really steep area right there. I don't think that's, maybe we'll leave that go. It is a mountain town after all. Yeah, that's really steep. I don't think too many people are going to try to go up and down that, but it is what it is. We'll leave that for now. Okay, so we've got ourselves a terminal there. It looks like our electricity has gone through right there. Down here, zone a little bit of industrial, just to pass the electricity along. Of course, we don't have much demand for that. There we go, now we have electricity. So we should see trains coming through here at some point. Let's see if we look at the edge of the map, if there's anything happening. Sometimes the mods do not wake up right away. It can take a little while to run, but we do have a rail line. That's what's important here. It's really just a matter of time before we get trains. We're seeing some trucks. So that means we have to be able to get some trains at some point here. So that means that it does connect. Here's a train. Let's watch this one go out. So we have ourselves a really nice little freight train heading out of the city, and this grade is just perfect. You don't really notice the hills. And that's exactly the way it's supposed to be. You don't want a train to ever notice the hills. but we are ever so slightly increasing and decreasing in elevation along this line as we head out to the edge of the map. And the other beautiful thing about building like this is everything is really straight and flat. It just is a beautiful thing. It looks like a real railroad. And here we are at the edge of the map. Excellent. It looks like it might... Nope. But they are loading over here. Whenever you look at the edge of the map with the 81 tiles mod, and you see trucks dancing on the edge, that's loading a train. Boy, that's a beautiful thing. I do have a few rocks I have to clean up. I'll do that off camera. Another train's leaving the station. So we are good. We are all set here. Now it's just a matter of filling in more of this rail line and building out more of Reddington, which we will do in the next episode. Did you enjoy this video? Please leave a like. If you'd like to see more of Reddington or my tutorial series, More Money, Less Traffic, please go check out my channel page, and for new episodes, of course, subscribe and click the notification bell. I'd like to thank my Patreon supporters, especially at the philanthropist level these last few months. They all enjoy ad-free access, and some levels enjoy early and behind-the-scenes access to everything I produce. Most of all, I want to thank you. Thank you for watching. So long!